everyone, it's Lindsay and David from Everyday Disney Magic, and in this video we are going to review the Marceline to Magic Kingdom tour at Walt Disney World.
This is a 3-hour walking tour. You meet at Town Square's Theater. Arrive about 15 to 30 minutes early. It's just as soon as you walk in Magic Kingdom, it's on the right. You check in there, they give you a headset so you can listen to the tour guide, because it's very loud there. Mm-hmm. And they also give you a cool pin. These are our pins. Mm-hmm. They are personalized to you.
Yep, this one says Lindsay. And this one says David.
I wonder if you could guess whose is who.
So they're pretty cool.
The tour is about $50 as well, and you do get an annual pass if you're an annual pass holder. Mm-hmm. Or a DVC as well.
Once the tour begins, you walk outside onto Main Street USA, and you actually walk up Main Street USA and walk towards Haunted Mansion. And while you're walking towards Haunted Mansion, the tour guide gives you interesting facts about Walt Disney and interesting history too. Some of the interesting facts were that Walt Disney was born in Chicago, and I didn't know that, and I thought that was pretty cool to learn. And also we learned that on Main Street there are 2 flags that are actually real flags, and the rest are actually not real flags, which I never knew.
American flags.
Yeah. And we also learned that the lights on Main Street, they emulate gas lights. And what was really interesting is the tour guide talked about how originally Walt Disney wanted the entrance of Main Street to be like a red curtain, but instead they went with a train station and red brick to represent the entrance into the magic.
I think it's a smarter choice.
Yeah, but Walt Disney originally wanted it to be a red curtain, which is
somebody talked him out of it, which is
yeah.
a good idea.
Yeah, I think the train station and the red brick is a perfect entranceway into the magic. And he was saying how the train station really is what represents entering into the magic. Like you're being transported into the magic through the train station.
He also said that was the most important building not even besides the castle. Even before the castle, that's more important.
Yeah, and Walt Disney always loved trains, so it like kind of represents part of him too. Another interesting fact that we learned was that a place called Electric Park, I'm not really sure what Electric Park is, but it actually inspired Walt Disney and his creation of Main Street.
Yes, but he could not actually get into Electric Park because he couldn't afford it, so he actually used to stay outside of it and look in.
Oh, that's interesting. And then also another interesting fact that he was talking about was Charles Mintz. So Charles Mintz was the guy who kind of took Oswald away from Walt Disney. So in Walt Disney's life, Charles Mintz was like an evil villain. And then in the movie Up, the villain's name is Charles Muniz. And that is supposed to kind of like represent Charles Mintz. So I thought that was interesting. I never even connected the two before.
Yeah, I don't think they talked about this in the tour, but Disney actually got Oswald back within the past few years because they kind of made a trade for somebody else. But the other person was not a cartoon. It was actually Al Michaels, who's a real person.
Yeah, it was interesting.
So NBC wanted Al Michaels to do the Olympics, but it was ABC actually, I guess, owned his rights. So they said, we'll trade you Oswald for Al Michaels. Well, NBC didn't even know they still had Oswald, so they, of course, accepted it.
Yeah, so it's cool that Disney has Oswald back. But it's funny because Oswald was, one of Walt's, kind of like his greatest failure because he lost him. But then it became like his greatest success because Mickey Mouse came out of Oswald.
Donald Duck was his great success.
But yeah, so
that is why I don't say it all started with a mouse. It actually all started with a lucky rabbit.
Yes, it
Oswald.
did.
And we actually met him in California.
We did. But those were some of the interesting facts that we picked up when we were walking towards Haunted Mansion. Once you reach Haunted Mansion, then you actually go on the Haunted Mansion ride. And while you're on the Haunted Mansion ride, the tour guide gives you, you know, facts about the Haunted Mansion ride, and he gives you information while you're riding it, which is interesting, and it's kind of like a different perspective on Haunted Mansion. And also, in the queue line, which was really interesting, I thought, and I didn't know a lot of the things that he was telling us, he gave us a lot of interesting facts too. Like those heads that are in the queue line for Haunted Mansion, they actually, if you read each one, there's actually a mystery story. And you can like solve the mystery story.
There's a lot of details in it
which
too.
is really neat. And he went through the whole story with us, and I thought that was so cool. And also in the queue line, there's like these musical instruments that you can touch that are on a wall, and they actually make a sound. And if you press them, they make a sound. Let's listen to that.
If you press all the instruments all at once, it actually plays the Haunted Mansion theme.
And also in the queue line, there is a ring that's like on the ground, and it's supposed to represent like the ring from the bride.
There is a little story behind that. There was actually, I believe, a gate that was cut flush to the concrete, and all the guests thought that was a ring. Well, that was not a ring, that was just a gate that was cut. So Disney Imagineers thought they'd go along with it and place a real ring on the queue line. So the ring that is there now, it's actually a real ring.
Which is really neat. I never even noticed any of these details before going on this tour. And then also another thing was the gravestones that are right before you go into the ride. They actually have like attractions on them that have passed, or they have like Imagineers.
Their eyes move too.
Oh really? I didn't even
One
know
of them.
that. I was like, why are your eyes moving? Yeah, so they have also like Imagineers that contributed to the ride as well, which is really neat. Like you never really look at all the details, but going on these tours helps you really look at all the details that are in Disney, because there's so many, and it really focuses in on Haunted Mansion. You learn a lot about it.
And once you leave the Haunted Mansion, there's also a graveyard to the left, and that is the pet cemetery. And there's an old friend that's buried there, I guess. He's a little crazy.
Yes, Mr. Toad.
Mr. Toad. He had a wild adventure.
Yes, he did. And then after you go on the ride, they actually take you backstage, which is really neat. And you can't have, you know, you can't take any pictures backstage or video or anything like that. But it's just really neat to see the backstage, and they take you backstage of Haunted Mansion. And we've never seen Haunted Mansion backstage, have you?
I've seen clips from like old history shows, but nothing that we actually saw.
Yeah, and it was just really interesting to see the backstage of Haunted Mansion. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, they showed us how the ballroom works, and that was really neat.
Yeah, because the ghosts in the ballroom, how it's like all perception, you know? Like...
They're real.
Well, yeah, they are real. Yeah, that's true. But when you go backstage, you know, you see a little bit things from a different angle. But it's interesting how like when you're riding the ride, it looks so real. They make it look so real. Yes, it is. It is real.
We must have went on a different tour.
Yeah. After going backstage, you actually make your way over to the Carousel of Progress. And you ride the Carousel of Progress with the tour guide, and the tour guide gives you interesting information about that ride as well. He actually said that there are 4 hidden Mickeys in the Christmas scene, and I didn't know that, so I thought that was interesting. And also he said that the person that is the narrator of A Christmas Story is actually the main character of the Carousel of Progress, which I thought was interesting too, because I didn't know that. And they gave like a lot of other interesting information too. I just wanted to give you like a piece of what they gave us. So overall, I really enjoyed the tour. I felt like it went by really fast though. And also I enjoyed, at the end, the tour guide actually, you know, he stayed and he answered any questions that you had. So if you had like any questions about any interesting information that you wanted to know, he like answered those questions. So that was neat that he did that too.
Yeah, I had a question for him that he did answer, so.
Yeah. So,
I wasn't sure if he was gonna, but he answered it.
Yeah, so I thought overall, I recommend it. I mean, it's only $50 a person and you get to do like a 3-hour walking tour and you just learn a lot of interesting information and you get to go backstage, which is really neat.
Yeah, there's no lunch included in this. Some of the other tours have that, which is why it's actually less money. But this is my 3rd or 4th tour I've taken with Disney, and it was very good. Like I said in the past, some of the tours do overlap information, but there's still extra stuff I have not seen before, and I did learn new stuff as well.
And sometimes, like, even though it overlaps, like, you forget the information and it's kind of like, oh yeah, like a reminder. And then also, like, they let you, like, participate too, and they ask you questions. So if you, like, know the answer, you're like, yeah, I need the answer. So, I mean, it's fun. I really enjoyed it. I recommend it. And I think you recommend it too, right?
Yeah, definitely recommend it. But I'm going to give away one of the hidden Mickeys on the Christmas scene at Carousel of Progress. There's actually a plush Mickey somewhere in that scene, so definitely look at that.
And let us know if you've been on this tour. What did you guys think of this tour? And if you haven't been on this tour, let us know if you're interested in going on this tour in the future. We would love to hear from you. And if you like this video, please be sure to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and comment below. We love to hear from you guys all the time. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, make every day magical.